In this tutorial, we're going to look at the concept of count-controlled loops. This ties in with the programming construct known as iteration. We use loops to repeat one or more lines of code a certain number of times. In this case, a for loop is count-controlled because we do know in advance how many times we want the loop to run. In this example, I want it to run 10 times. So instead of writing 10 separate console.write lines of code, I've only had to write it once, and my other two lines are the beginning and the end of my loop. If I come down here to terminal and type .NET Run, you'll see I have these numbers 1 through 10 all output on separate lines. Now that's what console.writeLine I did. The loop has meant I haven't had to write this 10 times. Now we've got three things that we need to set up within a for loop. And this is actually pretty much the same compared with most C-based programming languages. It's not just a C# thing. The first thing we need to do is create a loop counter. This is a variable that I've called I here, short for iterator. And that's a common variable name that we actually use with for loops. But it could be any variable. I could have called it count if I wanted, so long as it's not a C# keyword already. And the =1 is important. I need to set a starting value for this loop counter. So the first time through the loop, I here will be holding the value of 1. The second thing we need is a stopping condition. We know in advance how many times we want the loop to run, so 10 times in this example. So I need a stopping condition that's going to allow the loop to run 10 times but no more. So I is less than or equal to 10. Or I could have rephrased it and gone, so long as I is less than 11. Either way, it's still going to run 10 times if my starting value was 1. The last thing we need is some way of changing the loop counter. It's not going to be any good to us, in fact it's an infinite loop, if we keep I with the value of 1 on each iteration. It'll never meet that stopping condition. So I++ here is the shorthand for add 1 to the current value of I. So the first time through the loop, I is 1. It's going to check the condition, yes, 1 is less than 11, and then it will output the value of I. So 1 is output. Then it will go back and increment the value of I. So I is now 2. It'll check the condition again. Well, 2 is less than 11. So yes, we run line 2 again. It goes back up, increments I is now 3. Still less than 11. Still going to repeat line 2. Until I is 10. And we output 10. We go back up here, increment I to 11. And now I is 11, it's no longer less than 11. So therefore, our loop is done. We are finished.